And then Hong Lin, please.
Thanks, Professor. So I'm wondering about Gombrich's theory, like in understanding abstract paintings. So traditionally, they are considered as works of a rather different nature and are not easy to be classified, to be considered in line with more older periods. But according to this theory of like from imitation to construction, so Gombrich claims that artist begins with the schemata instead of like mimicking. So can this relate to abstract painting closer than any other series? And so like to justify them as a self-sufficient genre in the history of art. And furthermore, I think Gombrich also emphasized the importance of pre-existing patterns on a personal level and the mimetic tradition on a cultural level. So his theory of this making and matching cycle can it be used on a more on a higher level to unite the different art historical periods of European art as a whole, like centering around some themes, perhaps like experience of the expressions of visual experience or something. So I'm wondering about this.
Certainly, with the Gombrian approach outlined here, but then specified in his book, you can definitely explain a lot of the different styles in European culture. It is quite helpful. You certainly cannot explain everything. So that is certainly not his idea. What he wanted to show us is how we have a kind of change in style. And how does it come to this change in style? If this might work with abstract art, I'm quite doubtful. So Gombrich was there very, very cautious. And he himself claimed that he had not an easy access to abstract art. So that was something where he was kept himself at a distance. So this approach might perhaps, if we stretch it, work with some kind of abstractions, but not perhaps more on a kind of intellectual way, but perhaps not on a kind of visual way. Because if we take a Mondrian, so the idea of reality in a Mondrian is a very different idea of reality in comparison to a Van Gogh, to a Monet, to a Manet, and. So if we stay there in the 19th and 20th century. So that is very, very different there. So, and I'm not so sure if Gombrich might be helpful here with this shift to, for example, as I said, Mondrian. So Mondrian claimed that his work is real. So that it is concrete and real, absolutely realistic, seeing the world with his eyes. But then we ask ourselves, where does his schema then come from? So that means Mondrian's schema. And that would be then interesting to figure out. But perhaps if we follow his involvement with De Stijl, there might be something which we can do about this. But that would be then a completely different and very interesting story, by the way.